Hello everyone. If you don't know who I am, my name is Matt, and I wanted to go ahead and just put all of these resources in one place, record a couple videos, but mostly the main goal of this is to teach people how to use Python to code the monkey tasks at the Language Research Center. And so I know we're going to meet a little bit in person, so I'll send out a when to meet about when we can do that, but I wanted to get a couple of these videos out there so if you guys were interested, you could go ahead and get a head start, and then we can begin sometime in late September. Um, yeah, before I do get started, the first thing we're going to start with in this video is just installing Python, getting it on your computer. But I did want to give a couple little pieces of disclosure here. First, I'm not an expert. Everything that I've learned in Python is self-taught, and so I may not always code things as efficiently, or sometimes I may even get things wrong. So I just wanted to get that off the bat. But I have coded numerous monkey tasks, and I will provide you with a lot of that code so you guys can look at that for your own future tasks. So I will say that I have a little bit of expertise in that area, but just know that I may not always be perfect with the coding, and I will probably get things wrong. But that's part of the learning experience. The second thing is I specifically use Windows, and I am not very good at doing things on Mac. The code is the exact same, the language is the same, but sometimes the way you install it and the way you can call things are a little bit different, especially because they're different operating systems. And so I will show you how to do everything on Windows, but I will try whenever possible to post things, especially the installation things, like videos from YouTube, showing you how to install them on Mac. So yeah, so the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna download Python. And so we need to get Python on our computer. So I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen. All right, so it's down here. All right, so the first thing gonna want to do is go to python.org. You can also just Google Python, and it should be the first link that comes up. But when you get there, you should get to a website that looks a little bit like this, right? So it's got Python. This is Python's logo, and it has all this information down here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to go ahead to navigate to downloads. You can just go ahead and click that. You could just click this button, and I'm pretty sure it will give you the launcher that's best for your computer, including Windows or Mac. But the way I've always done it is I go down here and I find the most recent version of Python. You see that it was on June 6th at the time of this recording was the most recent one, and we want to do 3.11.4. We don't want to do 3.10. You can, it would be fine, but let's go with the newer version published on the most recent date. And so you go and click here, and it should bring you to a page like this, tells you about all the features and the changes of this update. And then scroll on down, and this is where you're going to get your downloaders. And so you'll see there's the Mac one here. I assume this is what you're going to click if you have Mac, but like I said, I'll put a video in. For me, we're going to do the 64-bit Windows installer. So I'm going to go ahead and click that and let it download. Once it's downloaded, you can go ahead and run it. All right. So once you run the downloader, you're going to get a little web page that looks like this. First and foremost, you're going to want to click add python.exe to path. Your computer is going to have a little bit of a hard time finding it if you don't check that box. And then you're going to want to go to customize installation. Don't do the install now. When you do customize installation, you want to make sure all of these boxes are checked. And then this is where it's going to differ a little bit. I personally don't like doing it for all users. If you have a laptop that has multiple users, maybe that's what you do. But for the most part, at least the way I use my laptops, I only have one user. So I go ahead and unclick that, and then I hit next. And so this is once again the all users thing. So I leave that unchecked, and yeah, this looks good. Associate files with the PyLauncher, create shortcuts. Yep, cool. All this is good. Don't check these. One other thing that I usually like to change is this right here. So I personally don't like installing Python all the way here. I like installing it directly into my users folder. So you see this is in my C drive, in my users folder, and then MatBab. The reason I like to do this is if you do it too far away, sometimes when you go to find Python, your computer can really struggle if it's unable to locate it. So I like to do it here. I've also seen people put it directly into the C drive, which would also work as well. But I like to, for Windows, I like to put it in my user folder. Yeah, and then so once that's good, get rid of that and go ahead and hit install. Should just be a quick second. Usually doesn't take too long. But yeah, I'm super excited while this is down there. I'm super excited that we're going to be able to do this, and I'm super glad that we're just going to put it out there. So even if people aren't able to come to class, when we actually like talk about it, they can hopefully just come on here and watch the videos and have a good grasp. After this, we're going to install a module called Pygame, and I'll show you how to do that as well. And Pygame just is this module that allows you to, it gives you access to a bunch of functions that you would use in making like video games. Which after all, what we do for the monkeys is basically just making them little video games. So I find it to be super helpful, and there's a lot of functions that are really useful in it. So also, oh, there we go. All right. Cool. So setup was successful. I usually disable the path length and then go ahead and close it out. All that's doing is it's allowing your Python to run more stuff. So and doesn't put like a little restriction on it. But yeah, go ahead and close that out. Now, this is where it's going to differ a little bit between Windows and Mac. I want to make sure that my computer has found Python and is able to find it. And that will be our last step before we're moving on to installing some modules and all that kind of stuff, which I'll do in the next video. For Mac, I believe it's called the terminal, but for Windows, it's called command prompt. So first of all, look, we see right here is it should be under recently added. We see that we have the Python 3.11 is a 64-bit. We also have idle, which is known as an IDE, which is where you actually can code Python scripts in, but I'll get to that in another video. So it looks like it was installed, but our computer's got to be able to find it. So the way we do this is going into the command prompt. So you can just hit the start button and search CMD and open up the command prompt. I'm going to close out of that. All right. So you see how I'm in my users MatBab folder. And so that's why I like to install Python there, is usually your command prompt will automatically put it there. And so, yeah, so the first thing we need to do is we need to see if Python got on. So what we can do is we can type Python space dash version and hit enter. We see there that Python 3.11.4 is our version. And so therefore we can say that our computer's finding Python and it's indicating that we have a certain version. In the video with Mac, I believe Mac comes pre-installed with Python 2, so you will need to do a couple different things on the terminal there, but I'll show that to you in the video. So if you have not installed Python correctly, it will say like unknown command or unable to find Python or something along those lines. And if that's the case, just shoot me an email and I can help you troubleshoot that. The other thing that we want to find is whether we have pip installed. And so pip is going to be an installer that helps us to install modules from the internet to use in our Python scripts. And so we're going to use pip to install Pygame, but we want to make sure that it's actually there. We checked the box that it should be there, but we always want to make sure. And so the way to do that is pip, so pip space dash version, and then hit enter. And then it should show you, it should output pip and then its version, and it should show you where that pip is installed. Once again, it's in my users MatBab folder within the Python folder. And so now we can say that we both have Python and pip installed, and so we are good to go. We can go ahead and close out of the command prompt. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you real briefly is called idle. and that is right here. It should be under recently added because you just installed it, but if not, I believe I'm used to Windows 11 and this is Windows 10. I think I can just type, yeah. So if you just type IDLE in all capitals, it should open this up and you can just run it like that. Just double click it and give it a second to run. All right, cool. So this is what is known as the idle shell. You can type in code in here and that will allow it to do things. So for example, say we want to do print monkeys are awesome. Gosh, forgive my spelling. I'm working on an old laptop here. Right. And so I can cause it to print and look at that. It goes ahead and it prints out monkeys are awesome. And so this is a place where we can run code. This is kind of like the console in R, but we'll also, it's known as the shell. But we can also use idle to actually code long form code and Python scripts and then run those scripts into the shell from the IDE. But we'll get to that in the next video. For now, you're good to go. You've got Python, you've got pip, you've got idle, and you are ready to rock. So we'll go ahead and end this video here.